There will be a quiet storm on Capitol Hill soon that could change everything we know about money. It has nothing to do with a new financial disaster, the economy going down, or even the normal lack of progress in Washington. A big change could happen to the world's money because of one part of the 2025 National Defense Authorization Act. Section 8B of the NDAA adds the digital dollar. It says that the U.S. Treasury should keep a strategic store of neutral digital assets to protect the U.S. dollar as the world's most important currency. It might look like this rule's specifics are very hard to understand, but they really change the way the U.S. government thinks about digital currencies in a big way. They don't mean Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of the other safe coins that are popular right now. Indeed, XRP is the most likely digital item to meet the needs set out in this law. Let's check that out. In Section 8B of the NDAA, very specific language is used. It tells the Treasury to keep digital assets that are open, work well, and can keep the foreign exchange market stable. These assets should not be tied to any one government or region. All of these things are already present in XRP, which makes it the only option for the work. Banks, other financial companies, and even central banks around the world already accept XRP as a payment method. It is decentralized, quick, and very liquid. This cryptocurrency doesn't have as many risks as Bitcoin or stable coins, which are usually controlled by small groups and change value quickly. XRP could become the new gold standard for the U.S. dollar now that the U.S. Treasury backs it. It's no longer just a dream. In the real world, this sentence has effects, and if it becomes law, it will make a lot of people want XRP. More than 1% of the M2 money supply will be kept in XRP by the U.S. Treasury. This will cause a demand shock worth $200 billion. About $50 billion worth of XRP coins are thought to be in use. This means that each XRP could easily become worth several $1,000s, even if this number is too low. If this rule is passed and the Treasury starts to really collect XRP, some experts say it will be worth $50,000 in the next few years. It's important to watch how prices change for speculation, but that's not all. In a world that is quickly moving toward using digital money. This is taking place everywhere, but it's really noticeable in China since the digital yuan came out. People in China have worked hard to make the digital yuan a world currency. Along the Belt and Road Plan, it is already being used in trade deals. In order to keep being the world's top banking power, the United States needs to move quickly. Maybe the answer isn't a digital currency that the U.S. central bank issues. Instead, it could be a relationship with a neutral digital asset that can work with the current financial system and give the U.S. an edge over its rivals. That's where XRP comes in. By adding XRP to the U.S. dollar, it would become a safe, efficient, and clear reserve currency. It would also show the rest of the world that the U.S. is committed to staying ahead of the curve when it comes to financial technology. The U.S. Treasury would buy a lot of XRP as part of its strategic reserve. This would make it the biggest XRP whale in the world. It would be very hard for people to buy XRP because of this, and its price would go up as demand grew around the world. When people learned that the U.S. government now officially backs XRP, banks, businesses, and even countries, they'd be in a hurry to buy it. This is very important for diplomacy. XRP might take the place of gold as the measure for the U.S. dollar. This would make the U.S. an even bigger business hub around the world. The U.S. could keep being the biggest trade power in the world while depending less on old settlement systems like SWIFT. This is possible because XRP makes cross-border payments fast and easy. XRP could be used instead of the dollar in a lot of international deals. This would give the U.S. an edge in world trade that can't be beat. This makes me think about price. Let's break it down. Around $21 trillion worth of M2 money is in use in the U.S. right now. All the U.S. Treasury had to do is back 1% of that with XRP. That alone would bring $210 billion into the market. Because there aren't many XRPs out there now, and the U.S. government's purchase would make them even harder to find. It's possible for prices to go up so much that they look like peanuts now. As time goes on, it's likely that XRP will reach $50,000 or even more. Since more companies and banks are rushing to get an important part of this new banking system, there are other things that matter besides price, though. Also, trust and safety. To keep the world economy stable, we might need a neutral, decentralized digital asset like XRP that is accepted by both institutions and states. This is because traditional financial systems are under more and more stress. The U.S. wouldn't have to use old methods to keep its currency fixed. Instead, it would have a digital commodity that can be used to settle debts, protect savings, and keep the value of the dollar without the risk of fiat currency inflation. It's not easy to make this choice, though. Some people think this would hurt the dollar's value as the world's major currency. In world trade, the U.S. has had more power than any other country because the dollar is so important. When things change to digital, it's not always bad for the dollar. Not only does it make it better, but it also gets it ready for the digital age that's coming. The U.S. needs to change with the world to stay competitive. Because cryptocurrencies can change quickly, some people will doubt whether XRP can really give the U.S. dollar the security it needs. The real world, on the other hand, has used XRP many times. It is already being used by big banks and other financial institutions around the world to settle payments that go across countries. It doesn't change value as much as Bitcoin does, and it can grow without costs or speeds going up. That is, without a doubt, the best pick for this job. If it's done right, XRP could become the most safe and useful currency in the world, backed and controlled by institutions. Finally, if the U.S. government adds XRP to its legal reserves and starts using it to back the U.S. dollar, it could be the start of a new era in banking around the world. This is a very important thing. XRP would no longer be seen as just another altcoin. They would see it as the start of a whole new banking system instead. People, businesses, and governments all rushed to buy XRP, which drove its price to all-time highs. What brand of gold would it be? It wouldn't be something from the past. That thing would be digital and backed by the U.S. government. The prizes for people who get in early could be out of this world. We are on the verge of a new banking world. Now, the question is not if XRP will become the new gold standard, but when. Not Bennett. Please remember that I'm not a licensed money manager. The information in these movies is just there to make you laugh. If someone wants to make a financial choice, I always tell them to do their research and talk to pros first. Thanks for hearing. If you like the video, don't forget to click follow and thumbs up. Make sure you have alerts turned on so you know right away when I add something new to the next movie. I'm excited to see you again. Watch out.